Hey guys, what we got going on here is a 6.6 Duramax turbo diesel. It's a LMM engine, and the thermostats seem not to be working. I don't get up to temperature anymore, so they're obviously not going to be working in there. And the task today is to get these changed out. And there's a lot of videos that are showing different ways of doing it, but there is a little bit easier way. You don't have to take out the compressor pump. Obviously here, you don't have to take your belts off. There are a few things that'll make this easier. So you'll need a 13 millimeter wrench, a 12 mil socket, and Torx for your cover here. This little guy in the front. So I'm gonna start disassembling this thing, and I'm gonna show you how to get to it. There is a area here with the rad hose. There's a 12 mil bolt in the front right there. And it's part of the hardwired hose here, this tube. And there is a bolt behind it back here. So we basically have to take off your computer connectors here. There's two of them stacked. Once those come out, you can get to the 12 mil in the back here. So I'm gonna get at it and start doing some of this. I'm gonna start with the cover here and get this 13 mil bolt out of the rad cover here. That allows the filler tube to come out of the way, so we can get a little room to lift up. You can see that there. Lift up the thermostat cover. So off we go. Got our plugs on down here. Right back in here, got a little bolt. Right there, that's too bright there. See a little guy right there? We're gonna get in there and start taking him out. That's for our radiator hose. So if you come up here, it goes to a hard line. There's a bracket right by the plugs. Bolts right below that. I'll get in there. Start get him out of there. Get that out of the way. Hey, so on top of the thermostat housing here, we got there's 4 bolts that have to come out. There's 5 on this, but the one that's in the very front, right up here, is a bleeder, so that doesn't have to come out. You'll need to take it out to refill and get your coolant up to level when you're all done in this stuff right here. But there is this one down here. That one comes out. It's just to the right of the bleeder, and it's the lowest one on the thermostat housing. That one has to come out. And then there's 3 on top, which are easy to get at. They're all easy to get at, actually. So I got them loosened off here so you can see. There's this one, and this guy, and that one there. So there's 3 there. One on the bottom, a little bit lower, right there. And that one up there is your breather. So those 4 come out. And we're halfway there. Oh, over halfway. Goes quick. Just a little side note here for these bolts. These two here, side to side, are long ones. They're about 4-inch bolts. And this little guy back here, he's a short little guy. He's about an inch. And then the one that's a little bit harder to get in the front there, right there, he's about a couple inches. So just in case you mix them up, you can't mix them up that bad. It's kind of rhetorical and dumb to say, but just in case you get mixed up. The two long ones are on the sides, shortest guy in the back towards the cab of the truck. Okay, so now on the filler tube here, you got your 4 bolts out of the thermostat housing, and then your filler tube here. There is one little guy on the bracket that holds the bracket to the thermostat cover. He's got to come out too. Another 12 mil. Just rip him out of there, and there's lots of room for you to start moving the thermostat cover. Thermostat cover. We have our fan shroud bolt removed here, and then we took the one that was by the filler tube here, connecting it to the tube itself. So now this bracket moves out of the way. You can actually see the thermostat housing right there. So get this tucked out of the way. You can actually go one step further if you want. And back here there's the one of the wiring harnesses strapped into the bracket we just loosened off. You can pop this guy off here. This bracket will come right out. And it's a little bit easier if you want to take the extra 2 minutes to do it. So I'm going to pop that out of there, get that bracket out of the way. So once we've got the computer connectors unhooked, here is the bracket that they mount to. There's one little nut back here, and there's one in the front we already did, and one on this side back here. And the bracket comes loose, and then lo and behold, we got the bolt for the tube that is connected to it's hardwired to the thermostat housing. So that little guy comes out and the whole tube and everything will free up quite easily. On the back side of the hard tube, there's it's a little bit hard to see like everything else on these things, but there's a line that comes out the back of the hard tube, and it's on a rubber hose, so don't have to worry about that. That'll flex out of the way when we want to lift the thermostat to change the thermostats out. So get this little guy out of here, right there, and then yeah, lift it up. Just a little side note about the 5th bolt that's on top of the thermostat housing. You don't have to pull it out in the beginning, but it's not a bad idea to take it out after your vehicle's cooled down and you depressurize, the system. Make sure you pop off your cap on that. Let it cool down. Let it depressurize. And when you take out the filler bleeder on top of the thermostat housing, it'll let some of the antifreeze out. Obviously, there you go, and it'll just basically run down the front of the truck. There's really not a petcock for draining on these things, so just let it get out of the way here, and you can top it up later. Let that drain out so it comes up the front anyway. There you go. So here's the final look before we can pop the thermostat off, guys. The thermostat cover. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The one with the green there is your bleeder. So you can just take that out after it's done letting all the fluid run out of there. And these are kind of cross cuts. So we have these 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the main ones that hold the housing down. That's just for your brackets. So that's going to come out anyway. That's what it should look like at this stage. And ready to pop the cover off and have a look at the thermostats. The back thermostat is the smaller one. I'll show you that in a bit, but the vanes have to go in the back, but I'll show you that. That's good to go here. Next. We've got our cover lifted up, and you can see the front one, the light's directly shining on it, and the back one, a little harder to see, but once you get the front one pulled up and out, do the same with the back, and then put the back one in first, and the front one, and then reverse all this stuff. Start putting it back together. There is no gasket on the housing itself. It's just the gaskets that are on the thermostats, so you don't have to worry about replacing a gasket or anything in here or gooping it up. It's self-sealing with the thermostats. Okay, here we go. I'll take these things out of here. Oh, 2 minutes later, we got the thermostats out. Here's the back one. It's hard to see in the light here. There we go. Here's the back guy. There's the vent tubes in the back here. Those face the back of the engine when it goes back in. So when you grab your new one, same animal. There's the firewall of the truck. Those vent tubes go in and down, just like that, facing the cab of the truck. And that's gonna be the easiest part. Then we start putting it back together. So we're back in here, and just a little note. When you take the old thermostats out, there's gonna be antifreeze left in the rest of the block and stuff. But make sure that where the gasket rings are, that you make sure it's cleaned out and there's nothing stuck in there, so you have a good seat with the new ones. Just get a flat screwdriver or something in there, and just if you see anything, just pick it out carefully and make sure that seating area is nice and clean. Life is good. Back together she goes.